As Guyanese and visitors once again celebrate Mashramani, closer attention is being paid to ensure the float parade route and the national park remain clean, safe and secured. Of major concern is the correct disposal of garbage during the event and the collection of waste after the revelers would have left. The Protected Areas Commission is also putting systems in place to ensure those who visit the national park have a safe and fun-filled experience. This week on El Dorado Shines, we will tell you more about preparations for this grand celebration after hard work and provide you with an update on the ongoing litter prevention exercise.
The Mashramani preparations are on the way, and the Protected Areas Commission has been working with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports to ensure that the national park is properly prepared. As part of those preparations, we have been just making sure that the national park is nicely weeded and doing things like minor repairs to the stands so that the public can make use of those stands on the day.
Systems are also being put in place to ensure adequate security is provided for all visitors to the national park.
We are also planning and preparing for having additional security on hand, additional security of our internal security persons, that is, on hand on the day. Additional police will also be on hand to help with security.
The EPA is in the process of taking a two-pronged strategy. And as the usual, one is to ensure the terms of the awareness aspect. And what we're doing there is basically start with the promoters, the organizers, the Ministry of Culture and Youth, and informing them that the EPA wants them to ensure that the bands, the stalls, the MNCC in this case, the stalls need to have receptacles. And the fact that the litter regulations are enforced currently and we're no longer being nice to anybody, we are making sure that we are enforcing the laws.
All stakeholders will receive letters advising them of the measures being put in place by the EPA, and steps will also be taken to ensure bins are made available along the roadways.
What we're also doing is in terms of the litter bins. So bins have to be placed, and this maybe the local Ministry of Local Government or the MNCC at strategic locations so that the public can have access to those bins. The stall holders, they have to have receptacles as well. We're talking about the St. John Road in this case, to have their bins, and we're going to enforce that and ensure that they have that. Anybody caught without bins will be fined as well.
The environmental body intends to have a heavy presence on the streets on February 23 and will be looking to directly engage the public and advise them against littering.
The litter enforcement unit will be on the road in a patrol vehicle. They'll be there throughout the day and with a loudspeaker, announcing over that loudspeaker, advising the public that littering is against the law, it's a crime, and that they're being watched. And anybody caught will be charged on the spot.
Members of the public and business operators are being strongly urged to refrain from littering, since the EPA intends to bring the full force of the law against offenders.
My officers, and hopefully the police and the city constable officers, in fact also the volunteers, the cadre of volunteers that we have over the last 2 months have authorized, they will be joining us as well. So they'll be looking for those persons who are not abiding by the announcement, and from the time you are caught, immediately you'll be fined. Officers will be walking around with their ticket books and given a ticket. $50,000. If it's a stall, it's a business, $100,000. There's a fixed penalty as well of $15,000 if they agree and take responsibility and accept that they've done something wrong. Then we give them the chance of the $15,000 penalty. And if we happen to go wrong and come back and find that person again, then the penalty is doubled.
Now, related to that offense, if a person is in a vehicle that's traveling along a roadway and the person deposits litter from that vehicle, then that person would be liable under that particular offense. And if it's a situation where the there are a number of persons in the vehicle and it can't be ascertained exactly who is the person that's responsible for depositing that litter, then in that situation, the driver of the vehicle would be held liable. But that is only in the case of private vehicles, not for public transportation.
Garbage is bad news for Guyana. It's bad for health, it's bad for the economy, it's bad for society. Once there's garbage, there are going to be breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Once they're breeding grounds for mosquitoes, there's going to be disease. So the best course of action is not to litter, not to allow garbage to accumulate.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
As business operators, we need to be responsible.
Stop littering. Do the right thing. Kaichur National Park is a national park located in the Pataro-Siparuni region of Guyana. The park's boundaries and purpose are defined in the Kaichur National Park Act and was created to preserve the natural scenery and its fauna and flora.
Littering is unhealthy and unsafe to both humans and animals. It is not our government or city council that has the only responsibility to keep our city clean. We also, as citizens, have a responsibility not to litter.
The only way the garbage can get out on the streets is if we, the people in our country, throw the garbage out there. No bottle, don't walk out and get on the street.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
The EPA believes public events such as Mashramani are ideal for spreading the word about the new litter prevention regulations and the need for the reckless disposal of garbage to end.
The EPA wants to start with these public events. And I think Mashramani is the option, is a good option for us to start with. It's one of the major events. And we know for a fact that it's all good and nice, they clean up before Mash Day, and then on Mash Day after, it's a whole pile of garbage in the drains and whatever. I recall from other countries that after every public event, immediately after, the cleanup crew goes behind and clean up. I want to work with MNCC, barring the difficulties they're having, the challenges they're having. I want to urge the mayor and the town clerk to ensure that a team goes out there to do their cleaning after.
Taking a proactive approach this year to tackle the garbage situation that develops after major events is necessary if positive change is to occur.
So I'm taking initiative to the MNCC first. I'll get the city constab officers to assist us on the road. Even the police, we're going to write the police force, because they, by virtue of their position and in the regulations, they are empowered. They have to enforce those regulations as well. Not only the EPA litter wardens, they have to. So I'm taking the initiative and say, listen, this needs to be done. We need cleaning immediately after. This also goes to local government as well. Somebody has to bell the cat in this case. And if it's EPA, I'm willing to take that chance.
Litter not only defaces the natural environment, it is also unhealthy and irresponsible. Don't you want to enjoy the beauty and enormous services our environment offers? Then why not be the change you want to see? Let us work together to eliminate the repulsive habit of littering.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
I always encourage the passengers not to throw garbage out of the window.
Stop littering. Do the right thing. The Three Parks Initiative is a collaborative effort among the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment, the Protected Areas Commission, the Bihari Group of Companies, and Conservation International.
Are you aware that littering is an unhealthy practice? Change begins with one. Let us all work together for the change we all wish to see. A clean, healthy Guyana.
Pick it up, do not litter, and encourage others to do the same.
Come on, Guyana, pick it up. Littering is not good.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
A public awareness program was implemented last year after the new litter prevention regulations came into effect. The EPA and other stakeholders have since been educating the public and moving to impose penalties on offenders. While progress has been made in some places, other locations remain a challenge. Here's an update.
Well, I can start with this with two major areas that are troublesome right now. One of them is on the back road, the road from the power station going all the way to DSL, from what we call the back road. Right in front of South Entrance, just after the stoplight, the residents, and we know they're the residents who are responsible for this, is a huge pileup of garbage. The Ministry of Local Government, the MNCC Solid Waste Unit, cleaned it. I saw it with my own eyes. They have been cleaning that area. It is not a dump site, it is not a designated area, but the residents on the the northern side, they are the ones who are dumping and consistently dumping right there. So right now, if you go there, you'll see a spot of huge pile of garbage, and it has littered across right away all the way to DSL. What I'm doing right now is, because I can't find the individual, the particular person responsible, we've sent out flyers advising them, summarizing the regulations, what is this there, and their responsibility. And we're going to publish in newspapers, highlighting these locations in the newspaper and the nature of the dumping, and say to the residents that you are responsible, and let the public see that they are responsible. So basically this name and shame aspect as well.
Such challenges, however, are not confined to one location.
The second aspect is the road going into Higgs Bosch. Now we know the private contractors and the Sivans and Purans as well. They go down there and they claim that when the landfill is shut at 5 o'clock, they can go in. But what we notice, a lot of dumping going on there as well. These are huge dumps. These are coming from those trucks. We can see it's coming from the trucks. So I'm putting out a warning to these things. We're putting little wardens there as well, around the clock. And if they're caught, then they will face the full brunt of the long arm of the law. That is my promise to them. Right? We've spoken to them, we've spoken to Savons, we've spoken to Purans, and we've spoken to the NDCs. We're also going after the NDCs. The NDCs have responsibility for receptacles under the regulations, and they have to pick up garbage. But I understand they're also subcontracting these out to private contractors. I'm going after the NDC to give me those contractors' names, so we're monitoring those locations.
While the EPA maintains that action can be taken against errant NDCs and garbage collection services, the responsibility to ensure that one's garbage is secured and properly disposed is an individual one.
The law is a law, and the litter regulation is clear. Everybody has a responsibility to protect their garbage. That's their output, that's their production. They have produced that. If a service is not there, then you have to ensure that you keep it, or you find some ways to dispose of it properly. You have no right to allow it to be discarded by a vagrant or turned over by an animal. You have to ensure that it is secured. If the truck doesn't come, then you put it back in the yard. You get a private contractor to take your garbage.
When you litter your surroundings, you affect your public health and the integrity of the environment. Join the collective effort and keep Guyana clean, green, and healthy.
Be our brothers and sisters keeper. We can just tell the next person who you see dump. That's a bad habit. And for all of us, we will have a healthier environment.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
We must do everything we can to keep our surroundings clean.
Stop littering. Do the right thing. Shell Beach is a stretch of 90-mile long beach located in the northwestern region of Guyana. It is the only place in the country where 4 of the world's 8 endangered species of marine turtles come to lay their eggs.
I like to encourage people to take your garbage and take it home with you if you have to. You don't have to throw it on the streets.
Littering is not advisable, it's not healthy, and it's not right, so please don't litter.
When we litter, we damage our environment. We destroy the marine life. Let us protect our environment and more so bring back Guyana to the beauty that it once was and it can surely be.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
Authorities have long highlighted the slow response by the business community to get fully on board the litter prevention program. But nevertheless, some progress is being made.
We're getting some very small progress in terms of getting the businesses involved. I mean, we're finding them as well, right? But we want them to get on board with our Businesses Against Litter program, where businesses come with us and they say, okay, we're going to adopt a portion of a street or location in front of them, and we're going to clean it and monitor it for you. We're going to as well ensure that there's monitoring.
The business community in outlying areas are also beginning to become more involved in the litter prevention drive.
There's a group that manages the 63 beach, for example, and they are willing now to come with us and provide us the support. So we're going to authorize them, those small community groups or whatever, our business groups you call them, and give them the authorization to enforce on the spot for us. We're going to provide that support to them. And obviously the usual education and awareness component. So we want the businesses to come on stream. First of all, they have to ensure they have money. They have to ensure that they have receptacles. And the same principle applies. If the government collection service is not working, you have a duty to ensure that your garbage is secured and taken to the Higgs Bush landfill. That is where it goes. Not to a vagrant to say go and dump it in the streets or wherever, right? The vagrants are also now telling us who these people are. So once they tell us who they are, and we're sifting through the garbage. If we find envelopes, if we find whatever in there, and any name. If it's a big bunch of garbage and only one name, if I find Kemraj Parashram name on that, Kemraj Parashram pays for all.
While the capital city has long been faced with a garbage problem, there are towns in outlying locations that also have challenges.
All the outlying regions, Region 1, Port Kaituma, for example, Bartica, I spoke of Region 6 and Region 5, Rosignol, for example. There's a lot of dumping in these we call town centers in essence. So what the EPA is doing now, we are actually now in the process of hiring litter wardens. We are within the RDCs in these regions. We're going to put at least 2 litter wardens paid by the EPA and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and place them within the RDCs. We're also authorizing the overseers of the NDCs and the environmental health officers. We're also the volunteer people as well. We're asking for volunteers, even like we just mentioned the business sector, but there are also community groups and individuals who want to. So those will be the supporting arm to those 2 hired litter wardens. So we'll roll out that program in there, and they'll do the same thing that we're doing right now in Georgetown.
I just think that littering is very bad, and I think that we all as Guyanese should just stop littering, get a piece of garbage, just put it in a bin and that's it.
We should help come out and keep the city clean.
Do the right thing, put it in a bin. Throw the tin in the bin.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
At the start of the 20th century, there were only a handful of protected areas in the world. Although many have existed for generations over time, they have been recognized as a mainstay of biodiversity conservation as well as contributing to people's livelihoods.
Littering says a lot about us and our communities. Litter pollutes our roadsides, blocks our drainage system, leads often to flooding, and even threatens our health and our lives. A clean Guyana is in our hands. Let us work together to eradicate this socially unacceptable form of behavior.
Stop littering. Do the right thing.
The garbage situation around the municipal markets is also of great concern to the EPA, and stallholders are being put on the alert that the agency will be taking action.
I remember just before Christmas and after Christmas, I personally worked with those those vendors along Merriman's Mall and at Border Market. Said, yeah, please, please do not dump your garbage there. But it was clean for a while. We had planned to beautify that area. That is still in plan. I'm hoping that Ministry of Local Government and MNCC can execute that in the very near future. But it's all the drains and the trench right next to Merriman's Mall are full of garbage again. And I'm getting disgusted, so my minister has ordered me as well. We are going with enforcement and apply the law. That's the last resort.
Litter wardens dispatched by the EPA have been playing a critical role in the litter prevention program.
We're taking basically small manageable areas across Georgetown. We've been learning since we were in implementation. We've had some difficulties, and we're changing our strategies to suit the situation. So right now they're in the area of Avenue of the Republic. So they're going out there in full force, and hopefully you can see them in their uniform and all in one big mass there, looking for the minibus drivers. The minibus gotta have receptacles as well, and obviously doing the necessary patrol and what's not. And so we are encouraging the public to work along with these litter wardens, provide your support to them, and also asking the public to report. We have our number, the 600-600-0620, which is our litter hotline. You can call that number and report anything that you notice. Take a picture, submit it to us if you don't know the name or who they are, but if you have a name and a location, that is even better.
The EPA is also moving to equip its vehicles with cameras for easy detection of those who litter.
Our vehicles are going to be equipped with GoPro type cameras, so that once you're driving behind you and we see you, we're going to click you and report. The cars too, with the car numbers. We're working with GRA to get the information, so we can send you the fine at your location once we see you. We don't have to catch you in the act. But if we notice you're doing that and we don't have a picture, we'll still take you to court.
I've been walking in the same way as I did, and missing out the cracks in the pavement, and tutting my heel and strutting my feet. Is there anything I can do for you, dear? Is there anyone I could call? No, and thank you, please, madame. I ain't lost, just wondering. Round my hometown, memories of phrase. Round my hometown, ooh, the people I've made. How the wonders of my world, how the wonders of my world, how the wonders of this world are the wonders now. I like it in the city when the air is so thick and opaque. I love it to see everybody in short skirts, shorts and shades. I like it in the city when two worlds collide. You get the people and the government, everybody taking different sides.
Check us out on the internet for this and every episode of El Dorado Shines. Just go to YouTube, search for El Dorado Shines, and start watching. Or like us on Facebook and receive instant updates. You've been watching El Dorado Shines. Do join us again next week for another program. Until then, do remember that we all have a role to play in protecting the environment.